You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. Don't you ever let anybody take your power from you.
The left is still saddened and perplexed as to how they lost the 2024 presidential election. I mean, after all, Kamala Harris was the perfect candidate. She was handpicked, after all, by the Democrat elites to represent exactly who I don't know. But she had horrible policy, was a very unlikable individual, and of course, received really bad advice on the campaign trail. So what I want to start with today is James Carville ripping into the Kamala Harris campaign team with this highly entertaining take, which I was surprised to actually hear come out of his mouth. But before we get to the clips, please like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
To what extent should a person go to try to win an election? My view is that you would do anything other than break the law. Would you slap your mama to win an election? Of course I would. And you know what else? If I told my mama, I got to slap you to win, and she said, son, is that going to help you close the sale? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, go ahead and slap me. Go ahead and slap me. You do anything you can to win. Understand that. Understand that. There's nothing more important than winning elections. The vice president was thinking about going on Joe Rogan's show, and a lot of the younger progressive staffers pitched a hissy fit. Supposedly the campaign said that wasn't the term de facto, but they did. When you put a campaign together and you hire young people to do work, let me tell you exactly what you tell these people, what I would tell them. Not only am I not interested in your opinion, I'm not even going to call you by your name. You're 23 years old. I don't really give a shit what you think. And let me tell you another huge error that's made, is when people said campaigns need to reflect progressive values. No, they don't. No, they don't. Campaigns are authoritarian by their nature. And if I were running a 2028 campaign and I had some little snot-nosed 23-year-old saying, I'm going to resign if you don't do this, not only would I fire that motherfucker on the spot, I would find out who hired them and fire that person on the spot. I'm really not interested in your uninformed, stupid, jackass opinion as to whether you go on Joe Rogan or not.
So what James Carville is actually revealing there is that the truth does not matter to him. He will go to any extent to win an election, short of breaking the law, okay? It doesn't matter what lies he has to tell, what rumors he has to spread, what smears he has to do. Anything is on the table to win an election. So on the one hand, I admire his tenacity for winning an election, but on the other hand, you have to have truth involved, because otherwise people will see right through everything you're saying. That's why Biden and Harris had such a horrible campaign, because they're trying to pee down your neck and tell you it was raining. They're trying to say, yes, the border is secure. Yes, prices are down. Yes, America is safer than it's ever been, when we all can see with our own eyes that none of that stuff was true. And then, of course, he goes off on the young, stupid progressives who are like, hey, we want to make our campaign as left-wing, as woke, as progressive as possible. But James Carville realizes this is not going to win, okay? It doesn't play well because the vast majority of Americans don't agree with all of that woke garbage. The DEI, the critical race theory, the affirmative action, these are the things that the vast majority of Americans don't agree with, just on principle of equality, right? But Kamala Harris, luckily enough, she was on tape espousing and endorsing all of this garbage. So all Donald Trump's campaign had to do was just have a video of her saying in her own words what she actually believed, and then slap a little "I'm Donald Trump and I approve this" message on the end of it. And that is what was so effective. So James Carville is right. You do want to keep the crazy progressive messaging out of your campaign, which essentially means that you would be lying, because that is all the Democrat Party stands for anymore, okay? But the good news is, with Donald Trump's election, we're actually allowing the adults back into the room. We're actually allowing common sense to take over, as is pointed out here on Joe Rogan.
So there was this moment in the Twitter takeover where Elon sends his email and he says, and the line is, what did you get done this week?
Whoa.
What did you get done this week? And in the context of Silicon Valley companies, that was a provocative statement, because a lot of Silicon Valley companies take months or years to do anything. But imagine that statement being applied to the government.
Oh my God.
Right? Like the level of like accelerated time, like, okay, what are the problems? How are we going to fix them? And what have you gotten done this week?
Yeah, you think debanking upended some lives?
Yes, exactly. So yes, what have you done this week? And by the way, when Elon runs this guy, it's actually interesting. A guy just tweeted or posted or zeeted what it's like to work for Elon at his AI company, XAI. And he said Elon came in last week and he said Elon spent 18 hours at the office and in 5-minute chunks. And it was each person had a 5-minute speaking slot to explain to Elon what they were doing.
Wow.
And he did that for, 5 times whatever, right? 18 hours.
Jesus Christ.
And so think about what that meant. Every employee had an opportunity to tell the big boss what they were working on. Every employee had an opportunity to be recognized for their effort. Every employee had an opportunity to get live feedback from the big boss, who had a comprehensive overview of everything as to what they should be doing.
Whoa.
And there's no place to hide. Right.
Whoa.
And think of how different it is for a company to be run that way.
Right.
Then even, again, and the Valley companies generally are quite well run by sort of business standards. And even that, like that's the level of intensity that most Valley companies aren't even close to.
Now imagine that applied to government.
To government.
Which is just...
And again, this is the kind of thing. There's no law there's no reason it can't be done. There's no law that prevents that. There's nothing in the Constitution that says you can't do that. It's a choice. How the government is run is a choice on the part of the executive branch and the president for how it's going to get run.
So on one hand, you have James Carville actually trying to hide what Democrats believe so they can win elections. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump pairing with Elon Musk saying, how can we make all of this stuff transparent? How can we let everybody know out there the waste and inefficiency that is in government and get them excited about having new leadership come in, about having people actually care about the bottom line, about efficiency, try to rework the whole system, right? That, of course, is one of the great things about the Trump campaign. He actually thought outside the box and said, hey, let's actually bring in some people I don't necessarily agree with politically, but I do agree with on certain aspects of our government, right? And so, of course, now we have RFK Jr., we have Tulsi Gabbard, and, of course, Elon Musk. And this is what has so many people excited, seeing this type of take on government, right? Come on in. What would you say you do here? Well, obviously, you're not worth it. You're gone, right? And that, of course, is how we can help balance the budget by also increasing revenue and hopefully decreasing spending. Although that last bit, I kind of worry because Donald Trump never ran on being fiscally conservative so much as making America great again in terms of job creation, manufacturing, etc. However, the Democrats, they're still holding out hope that Donald Trump is going to get his eventually.
Special Counsel Jack Smith moved to drop his charges in the election interference and the classified documents cases, given the longstanding Justice Department policy that a sitting president cannot be prosecuted. Judge Tanya Chutkan in Washington quickly granted Jack Smith's request today. And of course, down in Florida, Judge Eileen Cannon had dismissed that documents case over the summer as Smith was trying to revive it, but now is no longer doing so. It may not be the last that we hear of that case, though, because others were indicted there as well. More on that in a moment with our experts. But tonight, Jack Smith made sure to mention this in his filings. He said, quote, the government's position on the merits of the defendant's prosecution has not changed. The circumstances have. Those circumstances, of course, being Trump's re-election to office. It's been an extraordinary turn of events since Smith first announced these indictments, which I should remind you were handed down by grand juries made up of American citizens.
Charging Donald J. Trump with felony violations of our national security laws, as well as participating in a conspiracy to obstruct justice. Charging Donald J. Trump with conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiring and attempting to obstruct an official proceeding. We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
Of course, not everyone. The president-elect reveling in this major victory, posting, I persevered against all odds and won. Now, Jack Smith left the door open for charges to be brought again in the future after Trump leaves office in 2029, when he'll be 82 years old.
So that, of course, is the big plan. We're just going to put all these charges on hiatus until, of course, Donald Trump is no longer president. So in 4 years, that's when we're going to get him. The walls are closing in. All right. Never mind, of course, we have statute of limitations. Never mind, of course, we have presidential immunity. And never mind the fact that Donald Trump can always pardon himself. OK, but the Democrats are still holding out hope that eventually we're finally going to get Donald Trump. Right. He stepped in it this time. We just got to wait another 4 years. years, okay? But I find it highly entertaining that Jack Smith actually says, oh yes, in America, the laws are handed out equally. Never mind the fact that Donald Trump had those documents that he is allowed to have as president, and Joe Biden had documents he wasn't allowed to have as vice president, and yet somehow Donald Trump gets charged and Joe Biden doesn't. That sounds like an equal application of the law to me, right? But of course, the Democrats are always willing to look the other way whenever it comes to lawfare, right? So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and stay safe out there, people, because they're coming after you.